Welcome to African American History 101. I am Professor Kenyatta, Professor Kamal Kenyatta. Welcome, and let's get to it. Let me give you some background. I grew up in South Carolina, great state, great people, love my family that's still there. The school that I went to an all-black school. Growing up from the first grade through the 10th grade until so-called integration took place. I had all black teachers, all black principals, administrators, and so forth. I got a very good education. The one thing that I did not get at the elementary and high school level was any significant impact of our history. Then I moved to New Jersey, went to college, didn't get anything there. I took the first class of dealing with African people for the first time. It was a literature class, and that professor kind of opened up the door, if you will, to that. But it wasn't enough. And I was searching for information. I wanted to know more. I knew that there had to be more than what I was getting. I then went to grad school at Princeton Theological Seminary working on my master's degree. And in the last class that I took there, at the end of the semester, was when the light turned on for me. I had taken a class entitled World Religions Through World Literature. And we had read literature from different parts of the world dealing with the various religious concepts of people from around the world. My major there was religion and history. And the professor was standing in front of the classroom as I am standing here now. And he had a map on the board. And he pointed out the different places on the map that we had looked at and studied. And I noticed that in the center of the map was Africa. And when he went from place to place, he skipped completely over Africa. And I realized we had not studied anything about Africa in a class titled World Religions Through World Literature. But Africa was left out of it. And I was stunned, and I turned to one of my classmates and I said, we didn't read anything about Africa. And she turned to me and said, so? And something in me revolted. I'm like, I'm at one of the top schools in the world, getting ready to graduate, and I know absolutely nothing about my own people, my own history, nothing. There were some other things that had occurred throughout my sojourn there that had kind of already were like seeds that were planted. Now they were beginning to grow. And fortunately, I was introduced to some gentlemen who became my mentors, my late mentors now, who set me straight, got me right, put me on the correct path. I share all of that to say that your being here in this class with me is no accident. My mentors groomed me and the others that were in the class with me to do this. Your steps, you have been divinely guided to this place where you are now, as I was when I was guided to their doorstep, unknown, unaware of what was going to happen and how my life was going to change because of that encounter. I've had no more significant encounter than I did with those gentlemen, Brother Calvin Robinson and Brother Redmond Battles. Changed the entire course of my life. And what they taught me there is what I will be sharing with you, and much more that I have learned since encountering them. So now let's get to it. The question that I asked was, what is the number one problem facing African people? And these are the type of answers that we get. We get this, we need more education, we need more this, we don't have enough education, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough jobs, we don't have enough housing, we don't have unity, and so on and so on. And every semester when I teach, I get the same answers, pretty much the same answers. And I point out that all of them are symptoms, because the number one problem, if we can identify that problem, it would have like a domino effect on solving many of these symptoms. These symptoms. Because if we just address education and say, hey, we need more education, we now have more people with education, with degrees, bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees, and we still are in the same condition. We don't need more jobs. We got people who got some of the top paying jobs in the world. We got people in the sports arena, in the music arena, the entertainment arena that are billionaires, but we still have the same problem. We have some of the best lawyers in the world, still hasn't solved our problem. Education hasn't solved our problem. None of those things will solve our problem. And so I posit to you that, and I want you to think about this when you think about it. But before we go there, I want to have a discussion about thinking. I want you to answer to me. I want you to post in the comments what you think thinking is. Well, the number one problem is racism, white supremacy. Think about it for a minute. If you solve racism, white supremacy, you begin to solve or address many of the symptoms. For example, if we realize that racism, white supremacy is the problem, and we're going to talk about what that means in a few minutes. But if you understand that, you can take education, for example. Once we understand that, we will realize that we cannot depend on the white power structure to educate us or our children. They will never teach us to be powerful in our own right. They will never teach us to be stronger than they are, or to be strong enough to overturn them. Just think about it. If we're all in a room together here, and I have all of you all under my control in the room, and I say to you, I am in charge and you will do what I say to do. But then I turn around and I say, you know what? I'm going to teach you all how you can overpower me, how you can get stronger than me and take things over. Do you think that's ever going to happen? Of course not. And so it's incumbent upon us to realize that no education in this white power structure is going to help us be strong enough to overturn them. It's designed to make us good servants, good workers within that system. And because they control that system, they're going to give us the peanuts. You see, when a white child and a black child go to school together, we think, well, now that they're together, they can have the kind of education that they want. But they're not. The white child that goes has been taught, in more cases than not, go to school so you can start a business. You can control your destiny. The black child who goes to school has been told by his parents and his neighbors and his community, go to school so you can get good grades and get a good job. And so they can be both of them can be sitting in the same classroom being taught by the same teacher, but they hear that information differently because of their orientation. This is why once we understand what racism and white supremacy is, we know we must have our own school system. We must teach our own children what we want to teach them, not what somebody else has decided. So you see how understanding that racism and white supremacy being the number one problem, that if you can address that, you recognize that, now you know what to do, or you have a better idea of what to do. You have a better idea of what to do. Now, the class is being taught here, but I do have a few people here in the room who are participating in the class.